They broke every prediction out there. That was the stunned reaction flooding forums and social media the moment Nintendo's Switch 2 launched. In just 4 days, over 3.5 million consoles found new homes, and retailers everywhere were caught in a frenzy that few had anticipated. Unbelievable lines formed in Tokyo, New York, and London. People were standing outside for hours, determined to clinch Nintendo's latest masterpiece. The chaos was so intense in some stores that onlookers compared it to concert ticket stampedes. The most striking part, Nintendo had actually spent months ramping up production to meet anticipated demand, yet still could not manufacture enough to go around. So, what exactly happened? And more importantly, how could one of the most prestigious gaming companies on the planet underestimate the hunger for their new console, especially after the original Switch had already transformed the market for hybrid gaming devices? In this video, we go deep into Nintendo's launch fiasco, its unexpected successes, and the frantic scramble for millions of fans who simply wanted to play. Soon after the first Switch 2 units landed in players' hands, the internet lit up with excited chatter. Social media posts showcased crisp visuals, seamless handheld transitions, and a lineup of highly anticipated titles that had everyone raving. Yet behind the enthusiasm, there was a mounting wave of disappointment. Countless fans simply could not get their hands on the console at launch. Many had diligently prepared, refreshing official websites and tracking local stores in the hope of snagging a unit. Nintendo, under the direction of President Shuntaro Furukawa, had attempted to forecast the scale of this demand, but their preparations still fell short. Within Japan alone, they implemented a lottery system that required potential buyers to apply for a chance to purchase the console, an approach typically reserved for extremely high-demand items. Even with multiple rounds of this lottery, thousands upon thousands of eager players were left out in the cold. Why did a company that seemed so ready ultimately struggle to keep up? And what unexpected hurdles forced them to scramble for a solution? One of the most eye-opening revelations came straight from the official transcript of the Nintendo shareholders' meeting. This transcript, painstakingly put together by a vigilant insider known online as N. Styles, offered a rare glimpse into the behind-the-scenes concerns that executives grappled with at the peak of the Switch 2 mania. When asked whether the shortage was a matter of limited production capacity or an incorrect demand forecast, President Furukawa offered a candid admission. The early demand had far exceeded even their most optimistic projections. The entire operation relied on global supply chains, which, in the wake of shifting international trade relations, found themselves in an awkward position. Certain components, such as advanced semiconductors, were trickling in slower than expected, partly due to factors outside Nintendo's control. The resulting supply crunch proved that even a measured forecast can be wildly off when the product is as beloved as a new Nintendo console. For many devoted fans, hearing about semiconductors and global supply lines might sound routine. After all, the entire world has faced logistical hiccups in recent years, from shipping delays to factory shutdowns. But the nostalgic force behind Nintendo amplifies these hurdles. Consumers across the world anticipate each Nintendo device the moment it is announced, leading to skyrocketing pre-order numbers. In Japan, where lines for new console releases are a venerable tradition, excitement turned into frustration as prospective buyers were forced to endure repeated lotteries. Nintendo's official statements, while polite and empathetic, did little to quell the heated social media debates among disappointed customers. In a country famous for its polite store lines and dedicated fan base, the spectacle of repeated lotteries served as a stark reminder that not even meticulous planning can tame a hype train once it leaves the station. Could there have been a better strategy to avoid this chaos? Or was the brand's popularity simply too explosive for any plan to contain? Interestingly, the story does not end with basic supply and demand. Tariff-related uncertainties, a challenge that caught many electronics manufacturers off guard, also loomed large during the Switch 2's launch phase. According to insider reports, there were concerns about how these tariffs might affect not only the final retail price, but also the speed at which components could be imported into major markets. While Nintendo attempted to adjust their strategies accordingly, a good portion of their energy and efforts went into contingency planning around these potential cost hikes. For a moment, the focus shifted from ensuring there were enough consoles to ensuring that consumers would not balk at a sudden price spike. And in those tense months of pre-orders, the company balanced several spinning plates, forging deals with component suppliers, reorganizing shipping schedules, and quietly praying that no unexpected border restrictions would derail the deliveries altogether. This behind-the-scenes hustle became overshadowed by the frustration of fans who simply wanted to play the new console as soon as it dropped. One might wonder, how did the team behind one of the best-selling home entertainment devices in history fail to see this wave coming? The original Switch shattered sales milestones, controlling living rooms and commutes alike, and effectively bridging the gap between handheld and traditional console gaming. Analysts predicted that a Switch successor would undoubtedly be met with mainstream approval, and Nintendo's marketing in the lead-up to release strongly emphasized the benefits of the updated hardware. Perhaps, in focusing on ensuring stable distribution, Nintendo overlooked the unstoppable momentum generated by the original Switch's success. Yet, there is another intriguing angle here. The hype surrounding Nintendo products often operates on a level beyond standard logic. Fueled by nostalgia, built around beloved franchise icons, and propelled by a global fanbase that spans decades, Nintendo mania can swell into a phenomenon that it is almost impossible to contain with typical supply projections. That unwavering brand loyalty was on full display in the days leading up to the Switch 2's release. Archival footage from news broadcasts showed dedicated fans camping out in front of flagship electronics stores in Tokyo, reminiscent of the first iPhone mania or major concert ticket rushes. Some interviewed fans joked that they would boycott sleep if it meant staying alert for any last-minute announcements about fresh stock. If you find this level of dedication inspiring, consider hitting that like button. Lets us know you are just as excited to uncover the behind-the-scenes truth of this launch phenomenon. The lengths that gamers will go to claim their piece of Nintendo history can be downright astonishing, and the lottery system in Japan has only amplified the sense that every console is a coveted prize. While some retailers manage to get limited walk-in stock almost daily, the lines would vanish within minutes, leaving latecomers disappointed yet again. Perhaps the biggest bombshell from the shareholders' meeting transcript was the sheer scale of the lottery system's applicants. According to President Furukawa, well over 2 million fans registered for a shot at purchasing the console in the earliest rounds, numbers surpassing anything Nintendo had tried before. This unexpected volume caused system errors that forced apology statements and even impacted the scheduling of subsequent lotteries. Onlookers expressed bemusement at the idea of competing for a chance to buy a product, describing it as similar to trying to win a golden ticket to a chocolate factory. However, there was no simpler workaround. Without the lottery, retailers might have faced overcrowding, and online marketplaces would likely have crashed under the weight of frantic refreshes. Everywhere from the My Nintendo store to major electronic chains reported unprecedented website activity, so much so that some online shops had to temporarily pause their services to prevent system overload. Behind all this chaos, the sense of urgency was unmistakable. In the gaming world, missing those first magical days of a console's release can feel like missing a cultural moment. People want to be among the inaugural wave to test new features, race through exclusive titles, and set up their living rooms or carry cases with the next big thing. Nintendo has, time and again, harnessed this psychological phenomenon. Think of how amiibo figurines and limited edition hardware have driven collectors wild in the past. Yet, the Switch 2 mania soared to an unprecedented scale. Casual players, families, and hardcore gamers alike all vied for the same piece of hardware, magnifying the pressure to win that lottery slot or stumble upon a local retailer with a hidden stash of consoles. As frustration grew, some fans began to ask whether Nintendo should have staged a phased release or region-specific rollout to prevent this type of mayhem. Meanwhile, retailers had their own share of headaches. Stores had to implement crowd control measures, reorganize staffing schedules, and devise efficient ways to verify lottery entries. Some lucky winners neglected to claim their prized consoles within the designated window, leaving staff scrambling to draw fresh winners or resort to in-person queues. This cycle repeated daily, leading to comical scenes of drawn-out announcements over store loudspeakers. Our 6 winners have not arrived yet. We will hold another quick selection in 5 minutes. For many employees, it became an ongoing saga. The excitement, though invigorating, was also exhausting, and some larger chains posted notices advising customers to visit official social media channels for updates on stock availability. Those who missed these announcements were often the ones left in the lurch. It showed that while lottery systems can reduce chaotic lines, they bring a host of new operational challenges that retailers had to muster considerable effort to address. Of course, none of these complexities would exist if the Switch 2 had been met with lukewarm interest. That is precisely what makes this ordeal so dramatic. The console's robust hype was widely predicted, yet it still became an uncontrollable force once the hardware landed in stores. There is, however, a silver lining to this narrative. As the weeks have passed, Nintendo has made progress in scaling up production. Factories have reportedly expanded their operations, and shipping routes have been recalibrated to bring more units to key regions as quickly as possible. The big question remains: how long before the mania settles down enough for an average consumer to walk into a store and simply pick up a console off the shelf? And will the experience of handling Switch 2's explosive debut reshape how Nintendo approaches future product rollouts, including potential limited editions or the next iteration of beloved franchises? There is evidence to suggest that Nintendo is reevaluating its methods. Recent interviews with high-level managers mention the desire to steer away from lottery-based distribution, if at all possible. After all, the company prides itself on forging inclusive experiences, and there is something inherently cold about forcing fans to gamble for access to beloved products. Some game developers have also questioned the fairness of releasing marquee titles at a time when so many potential players cannot even purchase the new hardware. Might this eventually result in staggered software launches once the console is more widely available? The interplay between hardware availability and the publication of major games is critical, as developers count on strong first-month sales to justify their budgets. All these factors introduce an element of unpredictability that even industry veterans cannot fully anticipate. Moreover, outside observers are starting to question whether supply shortages might spur an entire secondary market of scalpers and resellers, as has happened with other highly sought electronics in the past. Photographs of resold Switch 2 units appearing on auction sites at inflated prices have become more commonplace, prompting the usual chorus of outrage. Some gamers, desperate to join the Switch 2 experience, reluctantly pay way above retail price. Meanwhile, large e-commerce platforms and Nintendo itself are taking measures to verify purchase authenticity, hoping to discourage those who aim to exploit scarcity. This cat-and-mouse game is part and parcel of modern console launches, but it remains uniquely painful when fans see the device they crave posted online at double or triple the retail cost. On a lighter note, the community has shown remarkable resilience and camaraderie during this frenzy. Streaming platforms are brimming with gamers eager to show off the Switch 2's new features. Recap videos of lottery experiences have gone viral, generating entertaining discussions, comedic sketches, and an unexpected sense of togetherness among fans who either won or lost the console lottery. There are even stories of individuals who scored multiple lottery wins, only to end up sharing their extra consoles with friends rather than flipping them for a profit. In some cases, local game clubs hosted Switch 2 try-before-you-buy events, letting visitors experience the new hardware's capabilities so they could decide for themselves if it was worth braving the mania. This sense of a community pulling together for mutual enjoyment stands as a testament to the power of gaming culture to unite rather than divide. Still, tensions remain. The continuing leaps in Switch 2 sales show that interest is nowhere near subsiding, especially with major game releases on the horizon. Nintendo has promised that additional lottery rounds will open until the situation stabilizes, but that promise also indicates the issue might not be solved immediately. Some fans who bet on a seamless release date have already pivoted, deciding to wait a few months until the storm calms. Others remain determined, entering each new lottery in the hopes that Lady Luck might finally smile on them. Meanwhile, critics have begun to question whether shortages and difficult procurement might actually be fueling hype. Is it possible that the mere difficulty of obtaining a Switch 2 only intensifies its desirability? Nintendo's official stance focuses on apologizing and ramping up production, but rumors persist that scarcity might provide benefits for the brand's mystique, even if unintentional. In the midst of these heated debates, one undisputed truth stands out. The Switch 2 has reaffirmed Nintendo's role as a kingmaker in the gaming world. From nostalgic platformers to fresh, innovative titles that push the boundaries of handheld technology, the lineup is capturing hearts across multiple generations. And the console's flexible design, whether docked to a large screen or taken on the go, continues the proud Switch tradition of bridging home and portable gaming. If you are intrigued by the cinematic scale of this launch drama and want to follow every twist and turn, feel free to subscribe. We will keep tracking the unfolding story, from production ramp-ups to fan festivals celebrating the Switch 2's potential. The path forward holds plenty of questions. Will shortages abate soon enough to satisfy the frenzy? Will lottery systems phase out entirely? And with such a storm of excitement right out of the gate, what might Nintendo have up its sleeve to outdo itself in future product releases? In the meantime, one can almost see the ripple effects spreading through the wider entertainment industry. Whenever a game console dominates headlines, it inevitably influences everything from streaming content to e-learning platforms, as new adopters find creative ways to use the device. The Switch 2's success story might serve as a blueprint, or a cautionary tale, for tech companies aiming to launch their own disruptive hardware. The biggest lesson is the power of anticipation and how swiftly it can transform into unstoppable momentum. That unstoppable momentum is precisely what rendered all of Nintendo's careful planning insufficient. Even if they piled up millions of consoles, the mania found ways to strain the supply chain. Still, with patience, fans worldwide will eventually get their hands on this console, forging new stories of their own. And if ever there was a sign that gaming's golden age is not going anywhere, it is the fervor and devotion swirling around this launch. So, buckle up, because if Nintendo cannot keep pace with the hype, it begs the question, who can? Perhaps the most vital takeaway from this entire whirlwind is that the relationship between a platform holder and its fans is built on a foundation of trust and reciprocity. Nintendo's public apologies and determination to remedy the shortages are not just good public relations. They represent a promise that the company hears the collective frustration. The introduction of improved manufacturing schedules hints that lessons have been learned, but gamers have already begun spinning theories about what else Nintendo might be cooking up behind closed doors. After all, a launch window is only the beginning. Over the next months and years, we will see how the Switch 2 ecosystem matures through system updates, new game announcements, and special edition bundles. Meanwhile, the fans who have endured multiple lottery disappointments are bound to wonder if the day will come when they can stroll into a shop and pick a Switch 2 off the shelf without crossing their fingers. Will that moment be just around the corner, or will we get another wave of hype with the release of the next Legend of Zelda or Mario Kart? It may all come down to how soon those factories can churn out enough consoles to quench the runaway demand. As we wrap up, remember that the Switch 2's launch drama is as much a tale of triumph as it is a lesson in unpredictability. Sometimes, unbridled success can challenge even the most thorough preparation, leaving fans and companies alike in a whirlwind of excitement and anxiety. While some details remain shrouded in corporate secrecy, one fact is immutable: Nintendo's ability to captivate hearts worldwide is alive and well. And in that spirit, we encourage you to stay curious, remain hopeful, and keep your gaming spirit alive during this extraordinary moment. Because after all, when a console this beloved arrives on the scene, every twist and turn in its saga is a chapter worth relishing.